Welcome to Beyond the Shelf with OPL. My name is Dawn,
And I'm Jenny.
and we are so glad you're here.
Today we have a special guest that has decided to join us, and we're very happy that she is here. It's Daphne Silchuk-Ashcraft. She has been the director at Orrville for 9 years. And how many years have you been working in the libraries, Daphne?
Well, not to date myself, but it's been well over 20 years.
Well, that's amazing. So did they have regular books 20 years ago, or was it just like...
It was stone and
Yeah.
no.
That's great. So, Daphne, we are, like we said, we're excited that you're here. You'll be able to tell us more about Orrville and about your experiences at libraries. Daphne is a mom of 4 kids. She has 4 grandchildren, and we were just let in on a little secret. She has another one on the way. So, thank you for joining us, Daphne. We have a couple of questions we're going to ask you today, and if you have anything that you just want to share with us, that would be awesome. So first off, did you always want to work in a library?
First, I want to tell you thank you for having me here today. And have I always wanted to be in a library? I grew up in libraries because my mom was a librarian. So from a very early age, she was taking me to the library with her. And actually, my first job was at the Rittman Library, and my mom was my boss. And it was a great job, and I did love it, but I wanted to take a break and figure out who I was and what I wanted to be. And so I did several other things after that. Eventually, actually came back here to Orrville and worked for a short bit while I was going to college and trying to figure out what else I was going to do. Left again, and then came back to library world at the Seville branch of the Medina County Library. And in a flash, I was back here at the Orrville Public Library. It's been great.
You've always kind of been drawn back to Orrville.
I have.
That's awesome. I love that.
Wasn't born and raised here, but it's a good town to be in, and I really have enjoyed working here and living here.
Well, other than just the library, you have been highly involved in a lot of Orrville community-centered things, and we really do appreciate all that you contribute to Orrville. It makes a big difference when people come into the library. Who's your director? Oh, I know her. She was on Rotary, or whatever, many, many things. And that really is special that you take the time to really invest in the community.
This is a good community, and you will find the same people in all the same organizations, or they're in this one and that one, or they're volunteering for one thing or another. And I think that's what makes the community strong, really, is all the people who volunteer and care about, what goes on in this community.
So since you've had 20 years of experience in libraries, what would you say is the biggest change that has occurred from 20 years ago to date?
Well, one of them would be that we don't shh people anymore. I mean, we might. Sometimes it's staff. We have to shh, but libraries are definitely, they're more of a public hub, places people come and they socialize, and they, especially here in Orrville, you see your neighbors or people from your church or people you used to work with. And so people are talking a whole lot more in libraries, and they're meeting in libraries. And I think that's part of the great thing that has changed about the buildings themselves. And there's a lot more programming and a lot more innovative stuff that's going on with technology and all that now.
I love that you said innovative stuff, because that's one of the things that we wanted to talk to you about here. Orrville Library, we just recently got a mobile outreach van, a vehicle. And we as staff are just as curious as the community as what we're going to do with that van.
First of all, you can't miss it. Just in case anybody out there does not know what the Library on the Go is, you need to just drive by the library. It's that big red van that's out there. The purpose of the van is to increase our outreach. Not that we've not done outreach before, because we go to the daycares and the nursing homes, into the schools, and we go to community events. But this is giving us purpose and reason and the ability to go out and to take that service and just create more. And I'm not sure what all we're going to do. The sky's kind of the limit, what we could do. And we just want to see what there is. I think there's a lot of people that can't get to the library. Mm-hmm. So this is one way that we can take our services out to them, and one way we can reach the public that maybe we couldn't have any other way. Mm-hmm. So, and just never know when we might just pop up. It's not just have books. We're going to do programs. We're going to kind of see what the community needs. Originally, I wanted to check books out from the van. After thinking about it, what we realized is that a lot of the people that we would be going out to check out books to might not have library cards or maybe can't get library cards. Kids, if we go to the park and we're checking out books to kids who do have a card, what about those kids who don't have a card or can't get a card, who can't get back to the library? So I think we're going to change it up a little bit, and we're going to do like a free little library on wheels. So when we go out to events, we might have a box of books or a cart of books that kids or teens or adults could take for free, kind of like our spinner upstairs.
The paperback exchange.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll just be a way that we can get books in the hands of people and, keep encouraging reading.
So if somebody borrows a book and it's not like checked out on a card, can they bring that book back and get another one? But it's not required for them to bring that book back, correct?
Correct. So we'll probably put some sort of sticker inside of it that says, I don't have a name for it yet, but it'll say something, and it might say keep, return, share. That way people can choose. Maybe someone doesn't have a lot of books and they want to keep it. Maybe someone has a lot of books and they just really still want to keep it. Or maybe they just want to read it and return it. I think with our paperback exchange, we learned that a lot of people donate that don't take. I mean, the number that go out and the number that come in is,
Mm-hmm.
we do very well. So I'm hoping that people will donate maybe some of their books to this program, and we'll kind of see where it goes from there.
It's not going to just be child specific. The intent would be for adults, teens, all ages to be able to get a book from Library on the Go.
Yes, we have a nice variety on there.
Awesome. I love that you said like the purpose is to expand, because I feel like that's a lot of what we're trying to do with a lot of programs and activities that we do here at Orrville Public Libraries, expand and reach out to as many people as we can.
Well, I think that our Library on the Go is perfect with our Beyond the Shelf understanding of that we are not just tied down to books. We offer so many more things, and this is just another venue to be able to offer to the community, and I think that's fantastic.
And on there, I forgot to mention that it is a Wi-Fi hotspot. So when we are out and about, if someone comes up and they'd have to get the password from us, but we'd give them that and then they could connect.
So I do have a question for you. Sometimes we hear the phrase print is dead. How do you respond to that as a person that's been in the library world for 20 years? Does that hurt your feelings, or does that make you want to just cringe, or what do you think when people say that?
It does make me cringe a little bit, but I don't think it's true. And I think that you will have people who have decided that digital is the way they want to go. And if that's the way, I think that's great. But I think we always are going to need that print, especially for younger kids as they learn to read. Plus, I am not younger, but I like that print. I like to hold a book, but I do a little bit of both. I do audiobooks, but I think it's just going to change that there is going to be more e-resources for those that need it. But I would say print is not going away in my time.
That's fantastic. If print is not going away in your lifetime, what are you currently reading right now? Anything, or looking forward to reading?
Such a good question. So I'm sad to say I don't get to read as much as I would like, which is horrible to come out of my mouth, but that's just the truth. But I am part of our book club. Our book club is back, and we all just read The Reading List by Sarah Nisha Adams. And that was a great contemporary fiction book that I was able to read. But I like to have a variety. I like to have an adult, a children, and a teens book at all time. Actually, I have lots of books on my bookshelf, but that doesn't mean I get around to reading all of them. Sometimes I have to return them before I get a chance. But the one that I'm reading for the children's is the Newbery winner from 2021, the last Quintista.
Quintista?
Quintista. Okay. I practiced that, and obviously that did not work really well. So we're going to try again. The Last Quintista, and it's by Donna Higuera. It's kind of a fantasy fairy tale. Earth is dying, and there's a group of them, mostly scientists and their family. They're going to be shuttled away, and they're going to go to this new planet, new place, and start all over again. When she gets there are many people that have forgotten about Earth, and she's going to be the person that's going to tell the story and remind them about Earth and what she remembers. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I like probably teen books the most, and the one I want to read is The Firekeeper's Daughter. Did you read that?
I haven't, but it sounds so intriguing.
I read it.
You did.
Yes, and I actually really enjoyed it. I learned a lot about that culture that I was surprised by, and it was a good read. I honestly, when I read it, I didn't think I would enjoy it at all, but I really very much enjoyed it. So I think you'll really like it.
Good. It's won a lot of awards, and I've had it on my shelf and then had to return it because I didn't want to keep it because it's one that there's still holds on it. So I actually went out, walked through the library today, and I just noticed this one. It's called Bravely by Maggie Steffarder. Steffarder. Ugh.
Close enough. One of those. I'm pretty sure everybody pronounces that author's last name differently. I say like Stiefvater. Is it pronounced more Vader?
We'll just call her
Stiefvater?
Maggie S. How's that? Which will
Okay.
very disappoint her that I
Maggie
can't
S.,
pronounce
who's
it.
written lots and lots of
Yes.
fantastic YA novels.
Yes, she wrote the Shiver trilogy, which I really liked. And I think there was another one which I didn't get to read. It was the Raven Cycle, but she's one of my favorite authors. So I'm kind of excited. So I'm going to add that to my book list.
So you brought that up. So would you say YA is your favorite genre of book to read?
I would say yes.
Fun fact, Daphne used to be a teen librarian. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not. So was that when you were in Seville?
I was at Medina.
Okay.
It was one of my favorite jobs ever because I love teens and I love that energy and that orneriness. And
Did you get to develop a lot of programs for them while you were there too?
we did. And there was a different, every library depends on where you're located. And our location there had a good amount of teens coming through after school. And so, it's just like here when the kids come after school, they're hungry. Sometimes that's when they get in trouble. So we tried to have some things just like we do here to keep them active and let them know that they're important and, kind of pay attention to them so they don't get in trouble. But they're a fun group. I miss that.
I greatly enjoy working with teens. We've had some conversations about all things YA. I would like to shift our conversation here just a little bit because I saw you brought some information about the Library of Things. We are looking forward to this. So, what can you tell us about the Library of Things?
I think it's exciting. I think it's going to be a really fun addition to the library. It's just taken longer than I would have liked to get it going. So we have about 80 different things right now that we are going to start circulating. It started from an idea. Lots of libraries do this. It's not just us, but it's kind of inspired me to see what others were doing. And they loan out games and toys. I wanted to do a lot of early literacy games because sometimes those are expensive and you only need them for a short bit of time. And I thought it would be good for our families. A lot of libraries do cake pans. So actually we have about 15 different cake pans we're going to have. We're going to have some fun stuff like an ice cream maker, traffic cones in case you want to practice your driving, your maneuverability. We have a bird watching kit. I should be able to name all of them off, but they're all kind of blurring together. But it's just kind of a fun variety. We want to see what people like. We want to see what people will check out. Hopefully we'll get some input on maybe some other things to purchase. We are not getting a lawnmower, in case anybody listened to the last one, just saying. Although I think it's fascinating. And I think the libraries that loan out tools and all kinds of musical instruments, we got to see what your community needs. So maybe we'll be surprised and someone will say, hey, this would be a great thing. I wish you would, add this to the collection.
So how will the Library of Things work? Will they be checking them out for like a 3-week period like they do with books? Is it a 1-week period like with DVDs? Or what is the time frame for how long they can keep the things that they check out?
It is a 1-week loan period with 2 renewals. So technically someone could have it for 3 weeks. We'd like them to circulate. We'd like people to bring them back as soon as they're done just so that because 80 things is going to go pretty quickly and the shelves will probably be kind of bare. But, someone might need it for longer and that'd be okay. You cannot hold them. You have to come in and see what's on the shelf. Hopefully we'll have some nice signage and a list of things so people will know what to look for.
So I know I think it's Canton in that area, they have some things that you can check out, and it's actually like day passes to like the zoo and things like that. Is that something that will be in our Library of Things or something that you've looked into at all?
It is not in this first 80 things, but it could certainly be something we add into it. I think that would be interesting.
As you have been in the library world for 20 years, what is the thing that has drawn you back and has always been like, this is my world, these are my people. So what makes you most excited about libraries?
I think if you asked other people, they might immediately say books, which books are important and reading, because I really have a passion for helping people to embrace a love of reading. But really, it's the people, it's the social, it's the service. I like working in the public. I like being a community member that gives back, and I think a job at the library is the perfect place for that, for all the different things we get to do. So, people.
And I would say, and not to like suck up to the boss, but I would say you are a very caring person. I've noticed that about you since I've been here for 3 years. I know that we've had some patrons who have had loss in their life, whether it's a parent or a spouse or whatever. And sometimes one of the first places they come is the library and they want to talk to you. And I think that that's a great testimony to how much you truly do care about the people in this area. And I just want to say thank you for that. And I think just think that's really special.
It's one of the nice things, especially with a small library. And we're not the smallest of libraries, but we definitely know our community. And we know the same people that we're, as I said, going to the grocery store, going to church with, or when you're walking down the street, people know you work at the library, and you get to be very familiar with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing everything that you have with us.
Do you have anything else that you wanted to make sure you got to say? Like, would you like to name who your favorite staff person is? I mean, this is your chance on. Just kidding.
I love all the staff, and we are very lucky. We have a great staff. Could use a few more staff. That's the one thing that we are a little short right now, which is kind of the common thing in the employment world. But we have a great staff. We work together. Everybody pitches in, and that's what makes our library great, to be honest. And I'm very grateful. I was very excited when I got this job. And I still feel the same way. I mean, maybe a little more tired now than maybe when I started because I was a little bit younger, but it's a great place to work. Creative things like this. I thank you both for starting this and being brave enough to put yourself out there and talk all things library. So thank you.
Thank you again for joining us. We do appreciate it.
On Saturday, October 22nd, Jenny and I had the opportunity to interview all of the artists at our first local artist festival. There were 12 artists, and we'd like to share a few interviews with you this month. Tune in to new episodes of Beyond the Shelf to hear from more artists. So first we have Nancy Graham, and Nancy is a stained glass artist.
So we are at our local Artist Fest here at the library, and we are going to just interview some of our artists today. And the first one today is Nancy Graham. So Nancy, tell us how you got into your artwork that you do and what it is that you do exactly.
I got into what I do is because I like to solder. I used to solder at Triplet in Bluffton, Ohio, and I thought I love to solder. And a few years later, I met an older lady at the church, and she did stained glass. And I did my first piece with her, and I just fell in love with the fact that I can break glass and be happy about it. What other job can you do that you break glass and be happy?
So you like to destroy it so that you can make it into something beautiful.
Exactly. You have to break it to make something beautiful.
So Nancy, how long have you been doing stained glass?
I've been doing stained glass about 27 years now.
Wow. Well, her work is really beautiful. Do you have a website or a phone number that would be good for somebody if they are interested?
I have no website, but I'm on Facebook.
And on Facebook, she is Nancy Graham, and Graham is spelled like the cracker, Graham. Okay, Nancy, thanks for talking to us today. I have one more question because we are going to ask everyone this. Are you reading anything currently, or what is your favorite all-time book?
I just watched the movie with my granddaughter. It's Ferdinand.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you, Nancy, for being here, and we hope that a lot of people come out and see you today.
Oh, thank you.
The next person that we had the joy of interviewing was Melissa Cheppel. Melissa prints her paintings onto some practical items that you'll hear more about in her interview. And her last name is spelled Csepel, which is pronounced Cheppel. So here's our interview with Melissa. We're so glad to have you here today for our local artist festival. We always say we're excited, and I just said it again. Very good. So can you tell us a little bit about where you're from and what kind of artwork that you do?
Okay, well, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I relocated to Wooster about over 20 years ago, and it's been a really beautiful, positive experience for me. My art was developed at a very young age. My journey through art, spirituality, and mental health are all intertwined. So that's been part of my path. My art developed when I was very young as a result of living in a home with a lot of domestic violence and alcoholism, and this is how I could tune out of what was going around me and tune into something of a higher dimension.
Wow. So you do I see some fabrics and some paintings. Can you tell me a little bit about?
Yes, a lot of my artwork, I did start doing like really larger pieces, acrylics, and in 2016 I was part of the Mocha House experience, NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness. I was selected as a feature artist. So I used to paint a lot on canvas, but what I've been doing lately is I had to downsize a lot of my artwork because I no longer have the artistic space. So I create a lot of my artwork now as on 8 by 10 or 12 by 9 pieces. Then I take them to a local printer, and I have prints made, or I will download those onto a USB and then put them on different products. So that's what you see there, a lot of these prints. And it's a good way. I love making useful products that people can use, and then they can celebrate my artwork. It doesn't have to necessarily hang on a wall.
Sure.
You know, it can be a coffee cup. It can be a bag that they're going to carry. You know, something useful. I like that.
Having it be functional as well as expressive. Yeah.
Right,
That's
yeah.
awesome. So since we are at the library, we're going to ask everybody this. Are you a reader? Are you reading anything right now?
I'm currently not reading any, but I do have a lot of favorite books, and reading and just bringing my children to the library has been part of our family experience throughout their lives. I mean, my youngest, even though we're from Worcester, you know, that summer reading program was part of her experience throughout her whole academic life. So,
I love
and
that.
yeah, she always got good grades, and I think it really put into her to just keep showing up every day.
Do you have a favorite book that you would want to share today?
I think my favorite book right now would be something called Power versus Force, and it's written by David Hawkins, and he is a physicist, and in his work he measured, you know, everything in the universe is vibration and frequency, and he took he measured the frequency of our emotions, and he came up with a map of the human map of human consciousness on an emotional scale.
Wow.
So yeah, he's done a lot of work in that, and what it teaches us is not to really try to use force to get things done, but to relax more.
That sounds really intense, actually.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. Can you, before we wrap up here, can you tell us, can we find you on social media, or do you have a website or any contact information you'd like to share?
I am on Facebook under Melissa Chappell. I'm also going to be doing a show at the Wayne County Public Library in their cases next month.
Okay.
So you can get a hold of me through there. I even have a Facebook page. It's called Be Abundant Now, and the B is like a bumblebee, BEE, Abundant Now. I have a Redbubble store.
All right.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
The last two interviews that we'd like to share with you for November are with Tim Shu. His Instagram handle is woodinshoe, WOOD. The letter N, Shu is SHUE. And finally, Stephen Miller, who is very local, born and raised in Orrville. This is Tim Shu, and Tim does some interesting artwork. carving things out of wood and branches, mostly spoons?
Correct. Mostly
Okay,
spoons.
mostly spoons. So can you tell me, how did you get started in your carving and whittling journey?
Well, I had started with some pretty crude bowls, like dough bowls and display bowls. So I had made a bunch of those just using axes and gouges, and never really had any instruction. I just kind of just enjoyed doing it. And then someone at church told me that I should try carving a wooden spoon. And I thought, oh, well, that makes sense. And so I experimented with that. And then again, no instruction. I just kind of took some chisels and some gouges and, yeah, just kind of bumbled my way through it. So it wasn't until about, I don't know, 6 years ago that I discovered, oh, people do this and they know how to do it. And they use axes and knives, and I never knew you could use those tools. So I've kind of been dabbling in that and slowly getting better over the last 6 years or so.
Now, I had read a little bit of your bio before. The wood that you find, is it all from like around your property, all local?
Yeah, it's all pretty much local and not necessarily my property. But even like this morning, I noticed a construction site, and a man was chopping down some cherry and some dogwood and some crabapple trees that needed to be moved for some another driveway project. So I just asked if I could have a couple segments, and so it's I never have to cut anything down intentionally just to make a spoon. It's always down by storms or has to come down for another reason. Yep.
Okay, very good.
And it's always green wood, so I never carve dry. People are surprised that I get offers of wood that's been in their barn, for a number of years, and I'm like, no, I can't use that. It's too hard.
It's too hard.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is called green woodworking.
So some of the designs, you have different like ladle shapes or like leaves or different things. Do you go into it with a plan or?
Not really.
No.
I used to feel bad about that. Like, there's some people that are production oriented, and their thing is mastering 4-5 different forms and being able to perfect that. And for me, luckily, this is not my profession. This is my hobby, and so each one is basically different. I don't have a plan until I start hacking on the wood, and then things develop, and I'll take this route or sense that, oh, that would be fun. So each one's usually different.
Do you have any social media or anywhere that somebody could find you if they wanted to find any of your spoons?
Yeah, most of my spoons, I try to put photos on Instagram. Wooden shoe.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, wood in shoe.
Okay. And shoe is SHUE.
SHUE. Yeah.
That is your name. Okay.
Yep. So fun little play on words
All
there.
right.
So.
Very good. Now, are you a big reader, Tim?
I like to think I am, but I don't finish books very often, but I start a lot of books.
It's the ambition, right? It's the goal.
Yes.
Do you have any particular favorite book?
Oh boy, that's a great question. I have a lot of books that that are related to handcraft and things like this. They aren't storybooks. They're how-to books. A lot of things, like homesteading movements back in the 70s and some of those craft books and Americana
Right,
things.
the like Foxfire.
Foxfire.
idea.
I have the whole Foxfire series, and I even teach a class called that at my school. So
All right. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us this afternoon and being here today.
my pleasure.
All right.
Thank you for being here today. So, Stephen, we have a couple of questions for you. First off, if you'd like to describe what your medium is that you do your art and how you got into it, please.
It's mixed media, a little bit of depression. My work's considered very flat. I use a lot of recycled material, house paint, and I stretch my own canvas and paint on scrap wood and drywall. And I just got into it one time from my mom and her growing up, and when I was a freshman in high school.
So your mom is an artist as well.
Yes.
So it's been like a whole family,
Yeah,
generational
yeah.
thing. So where do you live, Stephen?
I live here in town in Orrville
How long have you been doing this?
since 91.
Were you still in school when you started? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it something that, is it like a full-time position or something that you just do as a hobby?
Kind of part-time on the side. And then I skateboard too. I've been doing that 34 years.
Oh, wow.
Haven't painted for about 4 years, but I'm trying to get back into it.
Oh, good, good. Well, we're glad you're here today.
Thank
So
you.
where can people find your artwork if they were
I
to
got
want-
stuff on Instagram.
Okay.
So
And Stephen is spelled Stephen. So, Stephen, since we are at the library, we've been asking everyone if they're currently reading a book or if they have a favorite book of all time, just to kind of tie it all in together.
I'm big into safari, so I'm like into a photographer named Peter Beard and history and stuff like that.
All right. Well, thanks, Stephen. We appreciate you being here, and best of luck with your art.
All right. Thank you.
So, Dawn, are we going to talk about what we have coming up in November?
Oh, we can definitely do that. So in November, of course, we have another coffee and crafts, and then book club again in November, which Daphne helps run the book club as well.
It was today, and it was really great. Our first one, we had 12 people this morning that showed up, and it just felt really nice to have everybody back, and talked a lot about other things besides the book, and we laughed a lot, but it just felt really nice to have it back.
And the book that you'll be doing on November 10th at 10:30 in the morning and then again at 6:30 in the evening is Lady Clementine by Marie Benedict. I have not read this particular book, but I did read The Personal Librarian by Marie Benedict, and I really enjoyed that book a lot. Anything else we have coming up in November?
Well, during the whole month of November, while supplies last, teens can pick up a felt pencil case kit, which is just a fun little tiny bit of sewing, but create your own little pencil case. As a reminder, the library will be closed on Thanksgiving, which is Thursday, November 24th, and then will be open the next day on Friday for Home for the Holidays in the evening.
Yes. So, Daphne, how many years has the library been open or participated in Home for the Holidays, or approximately, do you know?
It was long before I was here. We've done it pretty much every year. I think this year is going to be even better than last year. So if you were here and enjoyed the ice sculptures, you need to come back because it's going to be bigger and better.
Bigger and better. Does that mean the ice sculptures are coming back or something even bigger? Like, I don't know. What's bigger?
One giant ice
One, like-
sculpture.
And Titanic is coming and I'm going to
I
relive
think that y'all have to wait and see, but I think it would be worth coming out to see. And hopefully we have a nice night. And it's nice if it's a little bit cool, but not too cold. And it's, you can come in the library and warm up if it's too cold.
Okay, sounds great. Well, I think that's it for the November podcast. Thank you for everyone for joining and listening to the last couple of episodes. Dawn and I are having a fantastic time doing this, and we hope that you are learning things about our library and some books and some things that are beyond the shelf as well. So thank you for joining us. I'm Jenny.
And I am Dawn, and we hope to see you soon at Orrville Public Library.